I fully believe in writer's block.
Okay.
Hot take.
I love it.
Hello, my name is Alex. I am 25 years old, currently living in the Pacific Northwest. I am a mother, an author, and a ghostwriter. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about my career thus far and just kind of get into the nitty-gritty. So I like to say that I have been writing my whole life. I have notebooks filled with stories that I wrote when I was younger, and it's so interesting now to look back on those and be able to like reincorporate them into my current stories. My writing process, I like to start with a good summary. I like to write out like a page or two of what I see the story as, even if it's a little bit more concise. I still think it's a good way to kind of see your story from beginning to end. From there, I kind of like to break it down into a chapter by chapter outline. This is where I can really dive into what will be happening in that chapter, and it gives me kind of a roadmap as to how I'm gonna write my book. The plotting process will include like, I don't know, 10 or 11 pages worth of characters, chapters, locations, anything that I need to do research on. And this could be like scene information where something's going to take place. It could be a location, it could be an apartment, it could be a school. This is where I like to jump into Zillow and Pinterest and really get that inspiration for what the scenes are going to look like. When I'm getting towards the end of a book or an end of a project, this is kind of where I like to start creating my second draft, or like going through and rewriting things and making sure that I'm being as concise as possible. And then once that process is kind of over, I do like to send it off. I have somebody that I work with review some of my work. Sometimes I just send it off to the client as it is because they have already informed me that they're hiring an editor or they're having somebody look through it. So it really depends on what the project is and whether it's my personal project or whether it's something I'm working on for a client. When it comes to rituals and routines, I've personally done a lot of research on what other successful authors have done in their careers and what they suggest. One of my favorite authors, Neil Gaiman, he advocates a lot for writing by hand, and it is something that I try to do as much as possible to really spark creativity in my writing and to continue to create new and exciting pieces. So, writer's block. I would say that my hot take is that I don't think I believe in writer's block, because I think if you create that possibility and you open that door for writer's block, then yeah, sure, it could exist, but I don't know if I want to open that door and experience that yet. I was Instagram stalking one of my favorite authors the other day, V.E. Schwab, and she had this Instagram reel that talked about that not every day is a typing day. And I think this also kind of relates back to what Neil Gaiman was saying about writing by hand. And there, you have to leave time to think about what you're writing about. Like, if you're creating something like a story, not every day is going to be sitting at your computer typing it out. Sometimes you have to think about it. Sometimes you have to do research on it. Sometimes you have to write it out by hand. Sometimes you have to take a detour and come back to it. But I think that as long as you're willing to leave that door open and have days where you're not actively writing, 5,000 words a day or 2,000 words a day, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, you have the possibility of continuing to write and kind of setting yourself up in a way where writing is more of a habit than it is something you're doing. My book is called My Boyfriend's Best Friend, and it has been kind of in the works for the last 2 or so years, and I wrote it initially to help me overcome something that I was experiencing in my life. And then I got it all out of my head and onto the paper, and I put it away because I couldn't deal with it anymore at that moment. And when I came back to it earlier this year and was kind of rereading it and kind of starting to go through the editing process and really like dive into what I had already written. Originally I was not going to publish this book. Like my initial, you know, feelings about it were very like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Like, I don't know if I really like it. You know, I was just having a lot of conflicting feelings and emotions about whether or not I should be putting out this piece that I had just like taken out of my heart. Looking back on it, I'm really excited about it, and you know, we're still like editing and we're still going through things, but I'm looking forward to having you guys read it soon. So, like I said, I wrote it at a very kind of dark time in my life, and I think that the protagonist has to overcome quite a bit in her journey, the way that I had to overcome quite a bit in my journey, and I really just hope that the book can bring you strength at a time where maybe you need a little bit of extra help. So what advice would I give to aspiring writers? I think that especially when you're starting out and working on your first project, it's important to start to develop a habit. Maintaining a writing schedule or a routine, even if you aren't writing every single day, maybe you're writing 3 days a week or 4 days a week, is a really good way to start to develop the writing muscle, as I like to call it. Even if it's just like 15 minutes of journaling, or 15 minutes of writing out a scene, or 15 minutes of developing a character or working on your plot outline, I think, you know, that makes a big difference, and that little bit of time can chip away at a larger project. The way I handle criticism in my writing is by not taking it really as criticism. You know, whenever you're producing something and putting something out there, you're going to experience criticism, no matter what it is. And I think it's about seeing above that criticism and knowing that at the time that you created that piece, that it was the best you could do at that time. So I will evaluate kind of what somebody is trying to say about my writing, whether that's an editor or a client coming back to me with feedback, and I use it as a way to springboard off of what they're saying. So sometimes we find a good medium. I feel like finding that balance, especially when you're working with somebody, is a good thing. And there's definitely a difference between somebody just being cruel and giving you criticism to give you criticism, and somebody giving you something that is actually constructive and can help you improve your writing. Right now, we do have a couple of chapters uploaded to Kindle Vella. When the book goes for pre-order in September, it'll be available on Kindle Direct Publishing, Barnes & Noble, which is Kobo, and Apple iBooks as well. So you should be able to find the book available for pre-order on all of those platforms. So if you're interested in checking that out and giving us some feedback and just letting us know what you think of the story, I would really appreciate that. So I am trying to set up a writer's workshop and a book club this month, the month of September. We are reading the cozy V.E. Schwab, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Fantastic book, would highly recommend. I will be doing a couple of read-throughs on TikTok and Instagram, and I will also be posting some YouTube shorts here. So if you're interested in the summaries of the novel, or you're interested in some questions about the book club, feel free to join our mailing list down below. Thank you so much for supporting me in my process, and if you're interested in more videos about writing content or just the day in the life of a writer, please feel free to like and subscribe.